Hello, week 12.
Week 12.
Oh,
This is the first I sincerely think that this is the first week
oh,
since
what are you talking about?
Matt's eviction. No, Dan's eviction.
Why is Grace texting us?
I don't know. This is the first. Yeah, we've been new this, Grace. Um, this is the first time that since Dan going home, that I don't feel like actively negatively towards any of these people, which is
Yeah,
great. It makes the season so fun.
that's not true. I disagree. During Ross's eviction, I didn't feel actively negative towards anyone.
No, I
Oh,
disagree.
I'll keep going.
But I'm
Uh,
also more easily made angry. So it's
um, I don't think I don't even remember ranking. I don't think I was mad at anyone. Okay, so we're down to our final eight. Tonight becomes
it's
seven.
been it's been an exciting week for what could have been a boring week.
Yeah.
Like for what this week could have been, it's been exciting, which is fun. And my thoughts have changed on some of these people, for the good and for the worse, better. I don't know what the phrase is, but yeah, I guess we should just dive into it.
Um, yeah. I mean, this has definitely been a week. Um, I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say, but I can't remember. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, now I was gonna say next week is gonna be a very interesting week,
I'm
competition
so
wise
anticipated.
and twist wise. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay. I mean, let's start with Bella. Bella. Oh, and this is what I was gonna say. Just to recap, veto meeting happened an hour ago or so, half an hour ago. Reza and Julia are the final nominees. Um, it's looking like Reza's gonna go home at this point. Okay, but Grace. Okay. Um, I'll answer Grace in a second. It looks like Reza's gonna go home at this point, but honestly, there's only 5 votes. So it only takes 3 to form something, and that very easily could happen in the next hour and a half. Who knows? Um, yeah. So let's start with Bella. Bella was at a 7 last week. I'm guessing a 7 from both of us.
Yes, last week Bella got a 7 from both of us. So the past 2 weeks she's gotten a 7 from both of us.
Yeah. Okay. So Bella wins HOH this week, which I think was very good for her.
Amazing for her.
Her side needed to win HOH to stay in
I was
tank.
so happy when she won.
She very easily could have gone home this week. Um, I'm surprised she didn't win the veto. Honestly, I'm surprised. I guess she had all her notes. She just read them wrong or something. I don't know what happened there. But Rez is probably going home, and Reza is one person who has openly said that Bella is his main target. So obviously, Bella getting him out is probably the best move for her this week. Um, I look forward to next week, and once again, it is heavily dependent on this HOH. Again, it's still gonna be two sides. And Scott, I think Caitlin and Julia swing towards the 5, soon to be 4. Um,
The what?
I think Caitlin and Julia are gonna stick with the 4, aka like Maeve, Alex,
I think they stick with Alex Maeve, yeah.
Caitlin, Julia, and then it's Emma, Bella, Erin. It's 3 against 4. It's like almost starting next week. And that means Emma or Erin has to win the HOH for that side, which makes me worried for Bella going into next week. I definitely worry for her. But she had a good week this week, and I think, I mean, anybody could go home next week. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's at the point where it's like I don't want to lower my ranking because I think that someone's gonna go home.
Anyone can go home because it's like even if they're not the main target, it takes one veto win for someone else to go home.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to lower my score on people because I think they're gonna go home next week because anybody could go home next week.
I mean, my score will be based upon at this point, it's becoming a lot about win equity as well. like this week I would call myself at about 20, like a fifth of my score is about win equity. And it's becoming less and less about how likely you are to go home because everyone's likely to go home.
Okay,
But there are like I am still considering it, of course.
I'm gonna stay at my 7.
Alrighty. Steven stays at his 7. Yeah, this eviction, like I don't think people this in my eyes right now, in terms of like do we send home Rez or do we send home Julia, is the most important eviction because straight up, depending on which one of them goes, the house is into very different states. Because if Reza stays, all of a sudden, Aaron becomes a lot more closer to Reza, which boosts Bella's target. It pushes Caitlyn towards Emma and Bella, and then I think the house looks like Reza, Alex, and Maeve versus Caitlyn, Emma, and Bella with Aaron in the
Aaron in
middle.
the middle, yeah.
But if Reza goes and Julia stays, which right now is looking like the much more likely scenario, I think Aaron and Caitlyn, not Aaron and Caitlyn, I think Caitlyn and Julia are inclined to stick by Aaron and Alex and Maeve. Dear God, I keep saying Aaron. Julia and Caitlyn are inclined to stick by Alex and Maeve. Aaron is seen as the one person that none of them are working with, and she's the biggest target. So it's like, and Bella's target is all of a sudden smaller. So like, while Bella's not out of the woods yet of having this be a great week for her, Reza going is a great week for Bella. In fact, I think it really is best case scenario for Bella. Best case would have been she wouldn't have had to name a replacement nominee, but there was nothing she could have done there. And I think her win equity is very high. I think she has Ross's vote on lock, clearly. Like, no matter who else is there, Bella gets Ross's vote. I think even James and Juliana are likely to vote Bella if Alex and Maeve aren't there. If Alex and Maeve are there, maybe those two are on the edge. I think Juliana definitely votes for Alex or Maeve over Bella. I think James is up in the air. I think Anthony is a easy vote for Bella. I think Luke not so much. But so her win equity is very high. I'm going to stay at my 7 as well.
Okay. So Bella stays at her 7 for the 3rd week in a row. Okay, moving on to Reza.
Reza.
That's a 4. He's at a 4. Last week.
Yes, Reza last week got a 4 from me and a 4 from you.
Here's the tough thing about Reza. I think the only reason he's in this position is because he's outwardly against Bella, which is against him because he just got unlucky that Bella won HOH. He was on the block. He could have won the veto. Here's the thing. I'm less inclined to give him a lower score because I don't think he like put himself in the position this week, whereas opposed to Anthony, who just completely screwed himself over the entire week, which is why he got a 1.
Yeah, Reza did not dumpster fire himself. He played this week as best as he could.
Yeah. Let me look at my other scores that I gave people when they're voting. I feel like I never know what I do. I feel like there's a chance still he could stay, and he's back in where he needs to be if he stays. I'm gonna give Reza a 3 this week.
Alrighty, so Stephen gives Reza a 3. I'm also giving Reza a 3. Last week I was at a 4. He's going home this week, so that would put him in the 1, 2, 3 threshold. However, like Stephen said, did nothing wrong. It's just the way the HOH worked out and the veto worked out this week. B, it's not set in stone going home. It's very much, I think, up in the air because Aaron is on board to keep Reza. I think Alex is more inclined to be on board to keep Reza. But I think Alex and Maeve need to get on the same page, and I think that once they talk about it, which I think in the end Maeve is right, where if the two of them keep Reza, they evict Julia and push Caitlyn away. So they're keeping one but saving keeping one ally but getting rid of two. Whereas if they keep Julia, Julia's still in the game. Caitlyn works with them, but Rez is out, and they're losing one but keeping two. So I do think for them it is smarter to keep Julia, and I think that is eventually what's going to happen. But Reza still has a fighting chance. He's not going to stop until it's too late. And he's not going to slander anyone. He's not going to dumpster fire himself. So yeah, it's a 3.
Okay, so Reza goes down from his 4 last week to his 3. Okay, moving on to Julia, who was at a 6 last week.
Yeah. I was at a 6 and you were at a 6.
Yeah. Okay, here's the deal. I think Julia is in a situation where it's a lot of people are like, like Julia's with us, but like, I mean, I wouldn't mind if she goes. Like, I think that's how a lot of people feel about her right now, which is going into the final 7. I feel like a lot of people besides Caitlyn have closer people than her. I feel like she's used as a pawn next week, depending on who wins. It only takes 4 votes next week, so it only takes 2 and a tie so 3 votes to flip or vote her out against someone. And she's on the block this week, and there's still a chance she goes home. So, I'm going to go down to a 4 on Julia.
Alrighty. Yes. I mean, you definitely have to lower your score this week because not only, yes, she's on the block, and just like Reza's not for sure going home, that means that Julia's not for sure staying. So that's already like ticks down the notch as well. I am confidently saying tonight, and this breaks my heart to say this because I love Julia, but I think Julia going up as the pawn here is the final nail in the coffin of Julia is the first person that I think cannot win the game anymore. I don't think there's anything that she, like, even if she wins every competition she can to get to the end, like, maybe that's the only scenario she wins. But, like, I just think the jury doesn't see her gameplay. And it's not even a thing of, like, maybe they just don't see it, but it's like they see Caitlyn's, though. And they don't see Julia's. And I really don't think Julia can say anything to really back herself up. I think everyone beats her, including Emma. I think Emma actually does beat Julia currently. So win equity wise, way down. She still could go home, way down, but she isn't going home. I can't put her lower than Reza because she has played a good week and she did come up with a good plan to possibly not go on the blocker, and it didn't work. I'm also gonna go to my 4.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Julia is unfortunately out of the running for becoming the champion of this season.
But you never know. Okay, so Julia goes down to a 4. Looks like everyone's going down so far. Or no, Bella stayed the same, I guess, instead of someone else. Okay, Alex finished last week with a 6.5.
Yes, I gave Alex a 6. You gave Alex a 7. Alex is such an interesting case.
It was so much easier to rank people in the beginning of the game because it was so clear with 15 people left who is for sure staying the next week.
Mm-hmm.
And now with 7 people left, it's like literally one of them safe. And then there's 6 left. It's hard to make rankings now because I don't want to put someone at a 10 or not a 10, but like a 10 and have them go home the next week because it's just a game, but it is just a game. So Alex, I give a 7. I'm assessing his gameplay this week. He was on the block, not the target. I think he would have stayed against Reza.
He definitely would have stayed against Reza.
Maeve won the veto. Closest ally took him down. But that's the thing, though. I don't think Alex goes this week. So then what changes next week?
What changes next week is Reza isn't there to be the main target anymore. Alex is the main target for that side going into it. And if Erin, especially now, who has like a greater vendetta against Alex, kind of wrongfully so, or her reasoning is wrong, but she is right to go after him. And I think Emma probably too. he is the main target for that side, and I think does go home if Alex is on the block on eviction night next week, next to Julia, Caitlin, next to Julia or Maeve, he definitely goes home. Maybe he stays over Caitlin, but I don't know.
But that's the thing, though. I think Alex beats at least 50% of the people here, minus Reza. Like Reza, assuming he's gone, because I think he definitely beats Julia, Erin, and Emma,
And then,
and I think he has a tougher time against the other three.
I agree. I think he probably beat Caitlin as well.
Not that he doesn't beat any of those three, but just it's like he like
Yeah.
it's up in, like it's closer, I think. So there's also that he if he gets to the end, he's probably gonna win, especially if he finishes how he's been playing. I think he could win it. I think he could win this HOH though.
I agree. I think Alex.
Problem solving club.
Honestly, I can't wait to get the DR coming back. I think Alex and Erin are the prime contenders for this HOH, with Maeve as like a third.
Because he continues to play well, and because you're right, win equity has to keep going up the closer we get to the finale. I'm gonna stay at my 7.
Yeah, we're pretty much right on the same page this week. This is the first week where I feel like we're like exactly on the same page with every single person. And granted, we'll see how we get to the end because I think we will dispute some of these. But my score isn't going to be the same as you, but I am staying at my score from last week, which was a 6. And that's pretty much for all the same reasons. The big thing, the reason I didn't go up to a 7 is because of the fact that Reza probably is leaving, and Reza was the main shield for Alex, and once Reza's gone, Alex becomes target number 1 for that side, which like is not a great thing. But that being said, the jury in this moment, like, know Alex's game, respect Alex's game. Like, I think Anthony and James are mad at him for turning on him, but I think ultimately we'll respect it if it comes down to the final 2. Juliana, I think, has her votes going to Alex. Even like Ross is one of the people that just respects the game for the game. And yes, Alex was targeting him and Ross was targeting Alex, but I think Ross says, you know what, like you did it.
For sure.
I think even like Luke's I don't even know how or where Luke votes.
I think Luke still thinks he's gonna win.
That's, so like that's a wild card. So I don't know. I do think his win equity is great. However, I do think he's also the main target going into next week. But I do think also he could win the HOH. But I do think also Aaron could. So it's like it's such a mixture.
Yeah.
Positive scores. But like I can't justify going up, but I can't justify going down. So we're gonna stay at my same point.
All right. So for the third week in a row, Alex stays at a 6.5.
To say, if anything, he's consistent.
I mean, not really.
No,
I mean,
these past 3 weeks.
yeah. Okay. Moving on to Emma. Emma finished with, is this Emma right here? Emma finished with a 6 last week.
Yes.
Again, we've said this time and time before. Emma is someone who plays best with their back against the wall. I think Emma, with Bella as HOH, has kind of like
He didn't have to play with her back against the wall.
back against the wall.
We definitely saw it this week.
Granted, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't want to go lower though. Why did I give Emma a 6 last week? I think. I am gonna. I'll go down to a 5 this week.
I'm also going down to a 5. That's because, yeah, just like you said, when Emma plays best when her back's against the wall, her back was just not against the wall this week. There was a plan to take her out this week. Granted, it was a flawed plan that did not work, but let alone the thoughts were there. and she's another one where it's like I don't think Emma is out of the question for the win yet, but I think we're as the weeks go by, we're pretty much getting there. And again, like Emma's one where it's like all it takes is for just Emma to be on the block when the majority's not on her side, because no one's gonna evict Emma for being the target on the block. They're gonna evict Emma because they want to keep the other person, and that's not a great position to be in when the numbers are so low, or B, if you're in the final two in a jury position. Um, so like, do I think of all the people left in the game, the odds of her going home are on the lower end of the scale, but is that the best position to be in to win the game? Because I think to win the game, you need to be a big target at this point. Or you need to become one soon. Because at this point, like, we're going to be at the final 7 now. The time to turn it on and start becoming this threat, I think, was last week. It's not the final 4.
The final
Yeah,
four. I was gonna
not
be
the final 4, Vito. That's not the time you turn it on. It was like last week, and it's like if it wasn't last week, it needs to be this week, and if it wasn't this week, it needs to be next week. But like next week is pretty much too late. So like I have hope for her, but it's dwindling.
worried
Hope.
that we get to the final 2 and it's Emma versus Bella, and Emma's just like, you can have it. And then we're like,
That's literally I don't want I if like oh god if Emma if we get to the final 2 and the season ends with Emma campaigning for Bella to win, I'm gonna lose my mind.
yeah.
Um,
But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
but if the trend gets there, Emma can't seem to get people to do it she wants them to. So maybe that'll be what gives Emma the win.
Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Emma
okay.
moves down to a 5 this week. And we move on to Erin, who had a 4 last week.
Yes, Erin.
I think Erin is at a very big crossroads here. I think for her own personal game. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what if it was 2-2, assuming that it was 2-2. I don't know what Erin should do. Does she go for the
If this, what Erin should, in my opinion, should absolutely do if it was a scenario of 2-2,
she's the deciding vote.
she's the deciding vote. She needs Julia gone. Because right now, I mean, like, no, I guess maybe that's not true. Because, like, Bella, Emma, Julia, and Caitlyn have a core 4 alliance. But hearing their DRs, Bella isn't loyal to it, and Julia and Caitlyn aren't loyal to it. So like there's that, but like Erin doesn't necessarily have a core 3 with Bella and Emma. Like they're kind of a conglomerate of like Bella works with Emma and Bella works with Erin, and Erin will talk to Emma, but like they're not a core 3. And I think in order to become that, she needs to knock out one of these middle people. Because I think Julia targets Erin next weekend. It's not a question of like, do Julia or Reza target Erin next week? I think they both could and both would and both do. The question is you need to start getting allies on your side, and Julia is going to be the one to do that, especially if Reza like would work with you then. So it's a confusing situation. Erin really needs Julia out this week. I don't think it'll happen, and because it's not going to happen,
I worried that if she votes out Julia, she now has enemies in Bella, Emma, and Caitlyn.
if Julia goes home though.
That's what I meant. If she's the deciding vote and Julia goes home, I think
yeah, I agree with that.
And that's more dangerous than I think having enemies in.
Yes, but I think she can talk Bella back into her side, and like Erin's planning on going for Caitlyn anyway.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, we'll see. I don't think the votes are there regardless, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So my rating for Erin, like I said, this is her crossroads week.
We were both at oh no, I was at a 3 last week. You were at a 5 last week for an average of 4.
Okay. And the thing is, like, she's at a crossroads, and there's no like clear thing that's like, this is what you should do, as it is in a lot of crossroads. So I think this is going to really determine the end of her game here, and see what
this vote, the outcome of this week really does determine how Erin gets to the end.
So it's like, how do you rank someone like that if you don't even know what they're gonna do? How do you determine what happens next week?
Because I think Rez is not here next. Like I think the decision's been made for her. I don't think she necessarily has the crossroads that she thinks she does.
I'm gonna stay at my 5.
Alrighty. Um, alrighty. Yeah, I'm torn here. Last week I was at a 3, and staying at a 3 feels too low. Um, because like I'm not like yes, I think if next week Alex, Maeve, Caitlin, or Julia win power, Erin is the main target. But this is a veto that I think Erin can win. This is a Bella, I think, is also a huge threat. Um, so I don't again like with a veto and this few amount of people, I don't think it's out of the question for Erin to stay. So I will go up to a 4.
Okay.
I also think in terms of her win equity, I think it's okay. The,
It's
the big glaring problem with Erin right now is girl has not won a comp.
yeah.
He has had 0 out
She could use
socially.
she could
One
use
of
she
or like
could
socially, I wouldn't even call her one of the best anymore because she's very clear. Like if there's one person that's on the outs of everything, it's Erin. I like in my eyes, Erin. The main thing that Erin has going for her is her name, and that is I'm Erin Donaher. I got to the final 2
I
again.
think she could use the fact that she hasn't won a competition to her benefit. She actually threw a lot of those beginning competitions.
I agree, and I think she needs to. But if you're sitting next to someone like Maeve,
Yeah, it's
we'll
tough.
get to Maeve, or if you're sitting next to someone like Bella, like I think if you're sitting next to say Emma or Julia, who have won like 2, 3, and have like made semi moves, then yeah, Erin can use it to her advantage. But if you're sitting next to a Bella or a Maeve or a Caitlyn or an Alex who have won 2, 3 HOHs, a
Yeah,
veto or 2, and taken out these huge threats, I am Erin Donaher is not gonna win you the game.
it's gonna be interesting. Okay. Moving on to Caitlin, who had a 9 last week average. Um,
First time.
First time. Do you want to start, Scott?
Yeah, I can start. Um, I still think Caitlyn has an amazing shot to win the game. And last week the 9 was very much deserved. But this week
I
I
don't
do have to lower my score.
I was gonna say
Because the problem is now everybody from all sides of the game is saying Caitlyn is in an amazing spot. She's playing possibly the best game right now, has the competitions to back her up. And the thing is they do need her now, but in like after this next eviction, when you get down to the final 6, it's only like 2 votes to determine an eviction. You don't need Caitlyn, especially when she's in a middle up in the air position. Bella was kind of considering backdooring her. I don't think she ever would have gone through with it. Erin actively wants her out. Alex has picked up on the fact that Caitlyn absolutely threw the veto and didn't care. Like everyone sees the fact that Caitlyn is the middleman and is in their eyes, I think, is the biggest threat to win the game. Do I think she's the biggest threat to win the game? Not necessarily. I think she's a huge threat, but I think some people still beat her in the end. But again, I think it's a quiet moment. Thank you, Juliana. I don't know. I don't know what she can. There's nothing she can do at this point to like fix that. It's just kind of like she has to turn season 1 Caitlyn Powell back on and win these vetoes and win these HOHs until the end. Like she at this point needs to comp her way to the end and pick a side or something. So I do think she's still playing great. I can't say at my 9. I'm gonna go to an 8.
I think
But
that
I do worry for her next week, if I'm being
yeah,
honest.
I think depending on how, assuming Reza goes home, I think she's in a world of trouble next week. And even though there are bigger people who could go home over her, I think she's still up there. And again, there's only 6 people that can be nominated. Um, there could be three out of the 6 people could be on the block at one point next week. Like you never know what's gonna happen.
Erin just texted us. I literally think K-Pow can win this. And I literally think you're right, Erin.
Why did I get a notification for that? Yeah, I do think that 9 was deserved last week, but the game has changed since then. I'm also going to go down to an 8.
Yeah. And to be clear, I really don't think Caitlyn has anything to worry about next week. Because I think in both scenarios, in this final 7, it's like if Alex or Maeve win, you put up Erin and Emma and Bella's the back door or some sort of that combination. And the other side, you put up Alex and Maeve and like Julia's the backdoor pawn.
I'm so down for a K-Pow win too.
um the big thing is like if it's a scenario of like Erin and Emma are on the block, Bella wins the veto, saves Emma, can't put up Bella, can't put up Erin, they're left to put up Caitlyn or Julia. I know, I still think they put up Julia and have Erin. Like I really think Caitlyn is safe next week, which is why her score is still so high for me. But I think the following week, Caitlyn is in some trouble.
Yeah. Okay. So Caitlyn finishes with an 8. Just down a little bit. 8 is still really good though.
8
So
is still an amazing score.
moving on to Maeve Hegarty. Maeve
Maeve
finished with a 7.5 last week. Did I give her an 8?
Yes, I gave Maeve a 7, you gave Maeve an 8.
I think this is this is a bold statement. I think Maeve is in the best position in the game right now. And I didn't really realize it until today/this week. Because I was like, well, surely if Reza or Alex comes down, like Bella's just gonna put Maeve up, right? Like, no, like I feel like she has herself covered everywhere, and she's so just like Caitlyn. She's so sociable, and she talks to you like she really actually wants to talk to you. I don't know. Like, if I see Alex and Maeve, and I have to pick one of them to win the game, I think I'd probably pick Maeve. I don't know though, but like, I'm just gonna cut to it. I'm giving Maeve a 9 this week.
Maeve, in my opinion, is the front runner to win the game right now. Hands down, no questions asked. I think Maeve beats anybody on the jury right now. Or not on the jury. I think Maeve beats every single in this moment of time. And granted, of course, there is still a lot of game to play. Maeve is the person to beat. Let's just run through this. Socially, she has her main duo in Alex, who I think under all circumstances leaves if it's the two of them on the block. She has her 3 and 4 in Caitlyn and Julia. I think if it's Caitlyn versus Maeve, I think Caitlyn goes. I think if it is Julia versus Maeve, then maybe she has a problem. I think that is the only scenario that Maeve has a problem if it is Julia versus Maeve. And even then, she could stay. She has a great relationship with Bella. They made this deal. Granted, it technically ends this week, but I don't think Bella has a reason to go after Maeve yet. I think Bella is still going after Alex first and foremost, and could just like throw up upon like a Julia. I think she has a great relationship and has talked enough with Emma and Erin to the point where like Erin's looking at K-Pow and Alex first. Emma, I think, looks at Alex first. Like socially, she's really covered on all sides. Resume wise, she took out Dan, she took out James, who are 2 of the biggest names in this game. I think there's a solid chance that she's going to be the one to take out one more of these players, i.e., Bella or Erin or even Emma, who is a winner. Like, if you can say I took out 2 of the winners myself, plus Dan, who is a strategic mastermind, plus like all these other, like her resume is insane. 3 competitions wise, so far she has the most comp wins this season with 6. One more and she's on the leaderboard for overall in a season. And coming up, a lot of the competitions require A, Google Slides, which, let alone what the competitions are on,
That's a skill to have in the first place.
being able to use Google Slides is a skill in itself. And these people, like Bella can have all the notes in the world. Girl sucks at using Google Slides. Emma can use Google Slides. Girl doesn't have the information. It's like Maeve, and we saw it in today's comp. Everyone took over 30 minutes except Maeve, who took under 15. It was not even close. Maeve has the info. She knows how to use Google Slides. All of these vetoes coming up, except next week, are all geared towards competition wins. What days did things happen? Like, they're all right there, and Maeve's notes are so organized. She knows it's like, she literally, like I said this early in the season about James, like James has absolutely proved that like season 4 was not a fluke. Maeve has proved that 10 times over. Maeve, I literally, I can't, in order to give someone a 10, you have to either be Grace Delpiso or you have to be like, I need to be confident that there is no shred of possibility that you go home. I'm not there yet, but I am right there on, like, if next week, if she's in this position, I think there's a 10 in store for Maeve. This week I am at a 9. I agree with Steven. Because I do think there is a possibility that she ends up next to Julia, because this next veto isn't a season knowledge trivia type competition. But like,
And to be fair,
damn,
like you say, everyone had under 30 minutes. Erin did not play today. I think I don't know the extent of
that
Erin's.
is true.
Erin's
Erin's
season, but she's oh no, isn't Maeve the web champion? No, I think it's James.
James is, but Maeve has the second
Maeve
highest time.
close, yeah. So I mean, we've never seen Erin and Maeve face off in the web. Maybe we could, you know. I don't know. I think Erin. I don't know the extent of Erin's notes and knowledge of this season. I think she's kind of a little more tuned out than she was in season 2. But Erin is one to watch out for in these last few competitions too.
But like my gut of guts tells me that right now Maeve is the one to beat, and I like right now if I had to pick someone that I want to see win this game, I want the winner.
And I'm not gonna lie, and I feel bad for saying this, but coming into the season, if you told me that Maeve Hegarty won, I would have been like, oh, like runner up last season, like, you know, like,
well, runner up last season, and it's also, listen, we said this in the beginning of season. I would just adore the fact of how much everybody, including us, craps on season 4.
Yeah.
And then they came in and they
All
swept.
3 of them.
Or not they, Maeve.
Well,
Maeve
all 3 of them.
Well, that's true. They all, to the credit of season 4 right now, James, Anthony Hayes, and Maeve, all in their own rights at different points in the game, were Anthony Hayes and James in the beginning of the game. Maeve especially a lot in the end of this game. They're all main drivers of the reason why a lot of these people are going home. So like, yes, season 4, don't get me wrong, had a lot of weak players and not a lot of wiggle room in terms of like what you could do. But like, the crap should fall on the fact that it was a wimpy season, not that they're wimpy players. Because those 3 just proved beyond why they should have come back. And Maeve is sweeping them all, and I love it.
I agree. Okay,
and
so
many people just want her to win. Like, oh gosh.
What a chart for this week. Maeve and Erin are the only 2 people to go up this week. And Erin only went up from a 4 to a 4.5, where Maeve went up from a 7.5 to a 9. Yeah, so I mean, you want to do some highlighting?
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see how this game's gonna turn out.
Top of the game right now, Maeve Hegarty, deservedly so. Like, I am such a member of Team Maeve right now. And like, granted, of course, our opinions switch every week. Because last week I think I was on Team Bella, and the week before I was on Team Alex. But like, Maeve has consistently been, and let me say, this is also a huge factor, especially for this season. Girl has never cheated. Girl has never said anything bad about anyone. girl has, and like, listen, the people on the jury and the pre-jury and left in the season, not all of them can say that. I think Caitlyn is the only other one that I have given totally positive remarks. And on that note, second place, Caitlin Powell. So,
And Alex too.
Alex had a little blip a moment in the season 3 times. Granted, I think it was barely anything, and it was like bandwagon stuff, and it wasn't anything to mention in here. But he jumped on the let's make fun of season 3 train for a hot sec there. I can't completely give him the pass. He gets mostly a pass. I can't give him 100% pass. And third place belt. Like, listen, any of these 3 winning, and I like, for all intents and purposes, Alex is also up here. Like, Alex is 4th.
And this actually might be. This is my order of who. Switch Aaron and Emma. This is my order of who I want to win. Maybe Alex goes up a little more, yeah.
But yeah, these 3. I mean, like, and currently, just like to put it on, sprinkle some little extra whatever onto this. Bella, Caitlyn, and Maeve are currently the 3 people with the highest competition records ever. They've all won 13 competitions across their seasons. Maeve did it in 2, and she had the shortest season, mind you. Bella is now leading career vetoes and career HOHs with 6 HOHs and 5 vetoes. Their resumes are insane, and any 3 of them can win if they get to the end. My personal pick is Maeve because of the fact that she took out James, she took out Dan, she took out. I'm holding out for
names. All these big names are gonna have a road to.
And like Maeve isn't. Oh God, I'm praying for a Maeve win right now. On the bottom, naturally, bottom spot is Reza, who, at this point, looking at my text, I think it's pretty
solid.
Pretty solidly going home. There is still a little bit of wiggle room. There's still 45 minutes until the eviction. But if I had to put my money somewhere, Rez is probably going home. And last week we said that was our best case scenario. I actually would pick Julia to go home this week in hindsight now. But you know what? Like, this is still fine. Also there on the bottom is Julia, who Steve, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think Julia there's nothing she can do to win at this point. I think Julia's just here.
I don't know if I would say nothing, but it's pretty close enough.
I just don't know how you beat any, especially with looking.
But it also
Julia's not looking to go to the end with Emma.
It just depends. I mean, a lot of the people weren't looking. I guess that wasn't true. I was gonna say. I think every single final 2 has been looking to go to the end with each other. Abe wanted to take Emma. Caitlyn and Aaron wanted to go together. Juliana and Reza wanted to be there together, and then James and Abe.
I also think the only person that takes Julia is Caitlyn, who outright sweeps her. So like I think Julia is a little hopeless for a win. And then also in the bottom spot we have Erin. And that's not by nature if she can't win. I think she just has a tough time getting to the end with Reza out of the game, with Bella still having a Caitlyn and Julia by her side. I think it is very much within the realm of possibilities for Erin to be next week's boot. But yeah, going into next week, I think most likely boots are Erin, Alex, or Bella. I think one of them. But next week's the weird ass week.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh well, you'll see that later, I guess. But
yeah, you'll know. Yeah, next week is gonna be a weird ass interesting week. Oh God. Well, with that in mind, like if we're looking at it, going into next week, the numbers will lie on the side of Alex, Maeve, Julia, and Caitlyn. So, in my opinion, as long
it would take two of them to go home.
Well, as long as Bella, Erin, and Emma don't win both of the HOHs, we will see Bella or Erin leave the game next week.
We'll see.
Because I forgot you get the second life here. And that's huge. Yeah, I really think that could also be something that screws over Kate. I don't know. This week is weird, and no one's expecting it, and I love it. So that is exciting and fun. This next HOH competition I've been waiting for my entire life. Um, and yeah, eviction of 40 minutes. Rez will probably go. Yeah.
And then next eviction is Wednesday. So we'll talk again on Wednesday.
Mm-mm.
Right? Wednesday? Today's
Thursday.
today's Monday.
Because it's the doubles on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah,
But we
but
don't
we'll
do our
still do
rankings until Thursday
we're
when
not we're
someone
not
actually.
oh, we're not doing like
No,
not
we also have to decide how is this shown in the episode.
I think the next
I think
episode
we ended after the double.
I
We'll
don't
stop
want to spoil
recording
it. I
and
don't
we'll
want to
talk
spoil
about
it.
this
Okay.
later.
I think it goes into episode 14 though.
I agree. No, 15 because it'll be 14 and 15.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you whenever for our next rankings. And
Probably Thursday, but yeah.